Hello, everyone, and welcome to our once monthly Other Talk, which we hold every third Sunday of every month. We are the Nine-Sided Circle. I am one of your two hosts, Noor Kyle.
And I'm the other one of your two hosts, Mushtaq Ali.
Yes, and we want to thank you for joining us, whether you're here live or watching on the replay on YouTube. We're so happy to have you here. We have a lot of familiar friends, and we have a new face as well here today. So that is awesome, and we're so happy to see that. Welcome to all of you. And we do have to do our little spiel, the whole like, comment, subscribe thing.
Yes, so like, comment, subscribe. We love it when you like our videos. It helps us greatly. And we love it when you subscribe to our channel because we just do. And most importantly, we love your comments. So we want to hear from you if you have any thoughts. And that's it. So
Yay!
like, subscribe, comment.
And so first I want to share before we get on to another topic.
Yeah.
This is the talk that we do once monthly in order to accommodate people who cannot show up for our usual talk. This one happens at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, and our usual talk on Sundays happens at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. So whether you can make it to one or both, that's awesome, and you can come to whatever you can come to, whatever you'd like to come to. Some of us show up twice. I mean, Mushtaq and I do because we host, but the rest of you are always welcome, and you can join us via our Facebook group, which has a link down below. What else? Oh, yes, I want to share with you all that our virtual retreat has been launched, and we would be so happy if you'd join us this year, because we love to do this kind of as like our everybody's welcome event. Everybody's welcome all the time, but for this specifically, it's a time for everyone to get together and be in practice and in community for a little over 30 days, because we have a introductory session and a closing wrap-up session where we can debrief and reflect and all that stuff. But for a month, we do some interesting activities together, like
Readings.
Yes, readings,
Recitations.
clean, recitations, breath practice, and getting together once a week to be together and hold each other accountable and have a good time.
Or hold each other's hands as is needed.
Yes, and we have a private Facebook group for that. And all of this you can participate in on a donation basis. But to sign up, again, we will have that in the description below. It's our Nine-Sided Circle retreat, virtual at this time. This is our virtual retreat. Anyone can participate all over the world. And yeah, you can read more about that at that link and sign up there. We really do appreciate people signing up, because then we can send you the packet and keep in touch with you via email. So thank you so much for taking time to listen to my spiel. Hope to see you there.
Yeah, and we should say that while we really appreciate your donations for this, because it helps us do it every year, if you ain't got no money, and a lot of people don't right now because the economy in the world is collapsing, it's okay. Don't worry about it. We would rather have you than your money.
Yeah, don't get hung up on that. We appreciate the help, but you just being present is a help to everyone who is able to come. So there you go.
That being said, send us all your money.
Of course. No. Don't let that stop you. All right. I think that's it.
That's
it. Good. Moving on. Today's topic, the secret pause.
The secret pause.
Tell us all about that, Mushtaq.
What, me?
Yeah, you.
Okay. So we've talked around this a little bit in previous talks, in in the talk, the last talk of the 9 principles, which is wuquf, which means pause, amongst other things. We
Yeah.
talk it, we allude to it, and we just did a talk on Gurdjieff's stop exercise, which also alludes to this.
And if you want to check out the 9 principles, aka the
There'll
9
be a
precepts,
there'll be a link.
We have a whole playlist on that you might
Yeah.
find intriguing.
Yeah, and you will find that at the end of this video. So, yeah, if you're really interested, watch the video all the way through, and then you get the link.
There you go.
So, what is the pause? It's quite simple. It is an interruption of the patterns of conditioned habit. It is also moving your choices, moving into choice from your conditioning. And it is moving from what Mr. Gurdjieff would call the lower centers into the higher centers. So usually it works like this. Something happens, you have a stimulus, and then you have a response to it. Oftentimes there is no thought between the stimulus and the response. Sometimes this is a very good thing. If you step out into the street and you look and there's a car careening towards you, you don't want to have to stop and think about that. You want to just jump out of the way as quickly as possible. That's what stimulus response is for. You're walking down the street and somebody decides to swing a stick at your head. You find yourself ducking without even thinking about it. That's what it's good for. What you don't want is for that stimulus response to happen when it doesn't need to. And yet, that's where a whole lot of people live. You find yourself reacting without thinking to every stimulus you get. You walk into your workplace and you say good morning to a coworker, and your coworker goes good morning, and you have an immediate reaction to that, and that immediate reaction takes you down a particular path, and it's completely unconscious. We want to begin to learn to inject consciousness as a pause between the stimulus and the response. And this interrupts the mechanical response, which is what we're after. We want to break the habit of non-thinking response whenever it is appropriate to do that. Does that make sense? Can you all relate to this? Do I need to explain myself more? Or can I jump right into telling you how to do it? Okay. People are nodding their heads. That's always a good sign. I just did the pause right there. You notice what happened? Palin says, question, conscious pausing doesn't mean thinking, right? Absolutely not. As my old friend Joe Miller used to say, if you're thinking, you're stinking.
So this is faster than thought.
Yeah.
Really.
Yes.
Yeah. So good question, Palin. Thanks.
So one of the ways to begin to train yourself to make this pause is with breath. You literally exhale. You don't even have to take a breath in. Wherever you are in your breathing cycle, you get the stimulus and you exhale. So let's all try this. Here we are, and I'm some asshole who has walked in on this, and I say to you all, your mother wears combat boots. And you go, believe it or not, when I was a kid, that was an insult. And you go, and you just put your attention on your breathing for a second. First step, not the last step, but the first step. Breathe out. Long, slow breath out, if you can. So let's all try that together. Your mother wears combat boots. And you hold at the end of that pause. You don't actually hold, you just stop for a second. That stop is the signal for your brain to stop talking to itself. This is an important second step. Tell your brain to shut up. So long pause out. Tell your brain to shut up at the bottom of that. Then you center your attention in two places at once, in your heart and in your head. Not one or the other, but both. So that means you have to hold a point of attention in each. So let's try this. We go, your mother wears combat boots. Exhale. Pause. As you pause, you say, shut up, brain. And then you put your attention on your heart and your head. You allow yourself to just be present. Got that so far? Now, if you are a Sufi type and you're not afraid of Muslims and stuff, the old way of doing this, as I exhale, I say under my breath, you don't have to do that.
Why don't you do that again? The sound cut off.
Okay. Okay, I have the original sound for musicians is off, so let me switch that because that has the...
There's, yeah, and you can turn it off when you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes like this. I have the stimulus. I realize I need to interrupt the pattern. I exhale, and as I exhale under my breath, with my breath makes the sound. I don't make the sound. I go, oh.
There you go.
And I pause at the end. Now, in my experience, you can use any name you want for the divine unity. If you're a Christian, you can say Kyrie eleison on the out-breath. Of course, if you're a Protestant, you don't know what the hell that means. But you can, Lord have mercy, whatever. If you're a Hindu, you can say Ram or Shiva or anything like that. It's all the same stuff. So whatever works for you, you use it.
You take advantage of those vowel sounds to get
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, original sound, probably good to turn off now.
Oh, so picky.
Hey, it cuts off a lot of background noise. There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. So, think about a word that you can use on the back of your breath. You can use Om. Om is a good one. And let's try this with whatever word you want. You go, oh my God, here's a stimulus. And you exhale. Pause and center in the heart and the head. You would say fourth chakra and sixth chakra, if you want to use that method.
Well, has something to share.
Yes.
Mushtaq, when you say for the third step, center attention on heart and head, please forgive my simple question, but what is the difference between head and mind? I just told the mind to shut up. I get that. There's a lot of chitter chatter.
Yeah.
But when we say center your attention on your heart and head, would you mind elaborating?
Literally the physical space of your heart and the physical space of your head.
Got it.
Not anything to do with words or feelings at all. The literal physical space in the center of your chest and at what would be the third eye. You're
So
reaching, yeah.
That's interesting because it does still ground you in your body in a way.
Yes.
Because you're locating parts of your body as you do it and connecting with those. That is a very good thing to remember.
Yeah.
It's not just like abstraction and disconnect.
No,
really,
this is purely physical.
Yeah. Excellent.
Attention literally on your heart and literally on the inside of your head.
Good. Thank you, Will, for that question. Does anyone else have questions so far or things they want to share? All right, I think we are good so far.
I find that hard to believe.
Why do you have the attention also in your head?
Because what this is supposed to do is to activate eventually the higher heart center and the higher head center, because you need both. And so creating this awareness.
We'll touch on Rohit's question momentarily.
Yeah. Creating the awareness in both allows you to foster that sense of, oh, I'm not just in one center and I'm not in my first three centers. I'm moving into something a little bit higher eventually, God willing. Does that make sense?
Okay, thank you.
Another thought I have is that when you bring attention to a part of your body, it can increase blood flow to that space as well.
Yes.
And when you're in a moment of, adrenaline or offense or whatever it is, being able to bring yourself back into your body and into the present moment, and also physiologically giving fuel to those parts of your body that may be more incapacitated in those moments can't be a bad thing. So we have a question from Hind and from Rohit.
Okay.
Yeah, is this like the brain and heart coherent?
Coherence is a good word for it.
Yeah, so that we make our intention at our heart and then our base, so we align the both.
Yes. It's exactly like that.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent, thanks, Hind.
And let's get to Rohit's question.
Yes, okay, so unfortunately, Harris needs to go.
Oh, bummer.
We will miss you. Thank you for showing up and Being awesome. He says salam to everyone as he leaves. All right. Rohit asks, saying shut up, brain, is that part of the exercise or is that just an intention?
Yes.
Yes to both.
Yeah. I found that to be effective for me to actually say that, but it's the intention that matters. The intention is to quiet the dialogue. As the scientific types would say, to stop the level of verbal abstraction for a moment. So we want to have that sense of, okay, I don't have to have the conversation about this going on in my brain. I intend to stop it. That moment of breath and pause creates the space for it to stop.
David asks, does a single thought count as a response to a stimulus?
Maybe. Usually the response to a stimulus is more complex and will include both thought and feeling, sometimes sensation as well. So the mechanical action of stimulus response happens in the three lower centers, in the three brains, as Mr. G used to call them, in the belly, which is the moving center, in the emotional center, and in the thinking center. All of those will tend to be mechanical in nature until you get your act together. And so you get that almost instant stimulus response. And the response is hardwired for the most part. You're kind of programmed into doing it. What we want is to create the space for the higher centers to begin to come into action. And this, in Gurdjieffian terms, we are also creating the magnetic center as we do this. We're beginning to put some energy into that. Or as the Sufis say, we are polishing the mirror of the heart, which I like better because it sounds more poetic.
And we've done a talk about that too.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've done talks about damn near everything by now.
Yeah, true. Just taking notes for later.
So, when you've done all of this stuff, you want the conscious question, which is something along the lines of, what do I want my response to be to this stimulus? So I go, pause. What do I want my response to be to this stimulus? You don't have to say all the words, it's the idea. And then you allow yourself to just be centered in your head and your heart and let the response come up. Oh, I want to tell this person, go away. Or, oh, I'm going to put my shoes on top of my head and walk out of the room. Whatever it is, you can do that, as opposed to having to react in the way that you have been programmed. Now, this doesn't mean that your response is going to be perfect necessarily, because most people's higher centers are kind of stupid in the beginning. They need to be educated, and this is part of the education process. Gurdjieff used to do these things where he would take one of his students and put them in a trance, and he would shut off the persona so that the essence could just be experienced by everybody else. And oftentimes the essence was a blithering idiot. Somebody with a really smart, incredibly cool persona could have a stupid essence because the essence has never been allowed to develop.
I'm curious what that would look like to someone observing.
Well, maybe during the retreat, if we have a volunteer to the Sweden retreat, I might do that. It could be interesting.
Oh, yeah, by the way, the virtual retreat is roughly November into the beginning of December, and he's referring to a retreat next May.
Yes, which is a physical retreat for people
Yes.
who can make it to Sweden for a week.
Plug.
Yes. And let me tell you, Sweden in May is usually amazingly beautiful. The weather is perfect.
Excited.
Everything is springing forth. And there's all the cheese you could ever want.
Okay. More appealing to some of us than others. However, I'm very excited about Sweden overall, yes. So, yeah, so clearly this is one of those things that is in development over time, this higher center.
Yeah, it's
ability
called a
to-
practice for a reason.
Yeah. Mhm. Yes, so it's okay to be imperfect.
So, when you first start this practice, it is hard to do. Usually you'll notice that you needed to do this practice a minute after you've already come up with the reaction to the stimulus. Do not be dismayed, O nobly born. For with constant practice, with the intention that I am going to interrupt the pattern, eventually you will get to the point where you can do that. Does that make sense? All right, so let's go through this again. This is very simple.
We have a question from
Oh, good,
Rohit,
good.
or something to share.
Actually, sometimes the stimulus or maybe the insult or maybe anything, it's so strong that I find myself choosing between to stop the reaction. But the mind comes so heavy, like it says that if you don't think about it, you need to think about it, things can go really bad. So it puts very logical and very conclusive evidences to make you think. And it's become really very difficult to put a stop in that situation.
Yeah. The answer to what to do in that case is work harder. Some of this stuff you just got to do through pure cussedness. I'm going to do it no matter what. And with really strong stimuluses, at first, it's really hard to do this. But your thinking will almost always be the false thinking of the lower centers. And it will follow the same pattern of reaction. So you'll be ruminating on whatever the stimulus has brought up without being able to interrupt the automatic pattern. And the secret to this is you got to interrupt the automatic pattern, as long as it doesn't put you at risk. So jump out of the way of the car. But if somebody calls you names, choose your response, which is the best thing to do because it will frustrate them amazingly. And the hardest place to practice this is with your family. Just so you know, your family is going to be the place where you have the most mechanical behaviors. So start small, start with strangers, and work your way up.
Wow.
Would you say that the stimulus response, the responses from the lower center, are the equivalent in Sufi terminology to the commanding self, the blaming self, and the tranquil self?
Yeah, pretty much. Mostly the commanding self.
So these are
Okay.
the levels of the nafs in
Yes.
Sufi, in the Sufi paradigm, which
Yeah,
is
so-
applicable to many other traditions as well. Yeah, thanks, Will.
Hind, you're new here. Do you have thoughts and questions? Can we make any of this thing clearer to you?
There you are.
Well, actually, I'm just amazed because I started first. I do a program called I do NLP, and
Yes.
yeah, and
I'm familiar with it.
yeah, and the thing is that I saw some lots of your videos before, and yeah, I just came to the conclusion that it was all in the, I don't want to say in the Sufi tradition, but I find like it's kind of the same thing. It's all different names, but the same technique or the same yeah, the same way to see things, but different appellation. Sorry, my English is not good.
No, that's fine. What is your native language? Is it
French,
Arabic?
Arabic and French, yeah.
Okay.
Mm, cool.
So are you originally from North Africa?
Yes, from Morocco.
Oh, that's so cool. I
Lovely,
love
yeah.
Morocco.
Oh, thank you.
So, marhaba.
Thank you. Yeah, so thank you. I also want to thank you for all the information that you put on your channel. It's really a big treasure. And yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know we both appreciate hearing that feedback. Thank
So, now I will preface this by saying that I was one of the original group of people who was working with NLP. I lived in Santa Cruz back in the 70s. I literally was neighbors with both Bandler and Grinder within 2 miles of each of them.
the guys who got
Yeah.
NLP to be
And
yeah.
The material contained with NLP, if it's that much, then we're talking about this much. So much that it's not even on the screen anymore. They have interesting techniques, but they absolutely lack heart. They're missing the heart center.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so while some of their techniques are very useful, especially with dealing with creating better nafs, what I call giving people better dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Their techniques are not useful for being awake because none of them were. None of them are, as far as I can tell. And I haven't seen any of them. I haven't talked with Bandler since his murder trial.
Yikes.
Yeah. Shows you the power of NLP, though. I mean, he got the jury to doubt so much. They found both of the potential murderers innocent. There were 3 people in a room. One of the 3 people killed another one of the 3 people, and everybody got off. So Bandler was quite skilled for a coke addict.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago now. But anyway,
Jonathan has a thought.
Yeah, it was really a continuation of Rohit's question. and that is this: when the stimulus is particularly strong and the effects are very long lasting. Like not so long ago, someone made an extensive comment about my path in life and shed doubt on the whether it was good for me or not. And the result of that was that it was like a sinking sensation in my chest and abdomen, unpleasant in nature. And my interpretation was of consternation. It concerned me what they had said. And of course, I just wanted what to do. I wanted that unpleasant sensation to not keep on cropping up, which it was doing for hours and hours.
Yeah, you were deeply involved in the reaction to the stimulus.
So I had some ability to apply the technique that you were talking about, which would make the sensation numbed and vanish, even maybe sometimes vanish, but it would, as soon as I took off attention from that, it would creep back in there again.
Yeah. So keep going.
So I felt I've got to take this to another level. I need to get to the bottom of this. I had to ask a different question to myself. Not do I want this to go away? Yes, I want this sensation to go away. I had to ask, was there validity in what the person said to me?
Okay, that's actually a good question.
Otherwise, it's going to, okay.
Yeah. Though for myself, I would say the first question should be, is this person an idiot? Because oftentimes that's the case.
Not in this case. It was someone who I respect enormously.
Okay. The place to stop the stimulus response reaction is in the beginning. And if you don't stop it in the beginning, it's probably going to play through, which is what happened in your case. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this is going to happen a lot at first. And it's a pain in the butt. It's difficult. And with practice, you'll get better at it. And you asked one of the right questions is, does what this person have to say have any value for me? And it's hard to get a clear read on that when all of the emotional shit is coming up. Mm-hmm. All of the doubts and all of that sort of thing.
It's really hard, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the part that needs to be nipped in the bud in the beginning, because you don't need that. That's all reactionary, lower center stuff. I hate the term lower because they aren't lower in the sense of morally lower. They're just more primal. So practice. Spend time with this person if you want, and let them question you. And practice stopping the reaction before it happens.
Because that's, sorry, I was just going to share that if it becomes a doubt about, oh no, am I like doing my work, quote unquote, my work? I mean, if you're doing this practice and you're doing the best that you can, then you're already heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
Even if, So.
And you want questions like, does this person have the moral high ground to question my practice? The answer to that, by the way, is almost invariably no. Nora could question your practice, but nobody else.
So sassy. Is that helpful at all, Jonathan?
Yes, thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
So I saw that.
Go ahead.
If you want to continue.
My last part of my comment is, like anything else, this requires building muscle.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's an important part of this is, we're going to talk more about this evening, but we have some muscles that have gained more strength over time than others, but that doesn't mean that we can't better balance the muscle usage or switch to different muscles altogether. This being a metaphor for the ways in which we direct our attention and our effort in our behavior and our thoughts. Yes. So I did see, I know that Rohit has a hand up, but I saw him unmuted, and I would like to touch base with her first. Sorry. Hold on there, Rohit. We'll get to you. Yeah, Hind, did you have a thought you wanted to share?
Yeah, I just thought one of the things that helped me make that pause was consider everything or everyone if there's something that triggers me and make me, let's say, upset, I will say, okay, what that person said makes me upset. So the message is that I have that state inside of me, and I have to work on that. So it's not about the person. The person is like a messenger. So it's like, it's not, I can even thank him for this, because he points something in me that I have to work on.
Yes, and that's exactly correct. Even if the content of his message has no actual meaning or value, the fact that you reacted to it shows you where you need to work.
Yeah, and even if it's a person who doesn't matter, in the long game, it's just some asshole you bumped into this time at a, convention or something. But, they have pointed out something useful to you, regardless of your relationship to them, regardless of, whether it's relevant to you in, contextually. You're right, Hind. Like it does point to something that is meaningfully important.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Rohit.
I just wanted to add the question just before taking. Like if someone doubts my path or makes fun of me, the kind of world we are living in, so I celebrate that day, because for me that's testimonies that I'm on the right path. And if I ever have doubts, so I go to my teachers and ask them. So I don't give that legacy to anyone to question my path, except my teachers. They can guide me well. So I just wanted to add this.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
If someone has a teacher that they trust and whose input really has been helpful and continues to be helpful, then they are a resource for kind of helping clear away the noise, in addition to whatever work we're doing on our own to do that. So thank you, Rohit. That's great. Shuri.
This reminds me of a little boy. He's 11. He's a tennis player. And he asked me what to do when an older boy he was playing against was being mean to him and telling him he was playing really badly and he's hopeless and all this kind of thing. And we use the term in Australia called sledging. Do you use that term?
No, but
please
we
share.
will steal it from you.
Yes, sledging on someone, you're just hammering them with all sorts of rubbish, and he was really quite upset about it. And I said to him, well, you've actually chosen to believe what he says is true. Is it true? And he went, oh, and his mother was really worried about what to say to him, how to deal with children in this regard. And I said to him, well, you could be curious and say, is that all you got? Is that all you got? You know, just keep asking questions or something to actually, it's not about you, this little boy, Aria. I said, why don't you fling it back at him? Because is that all you got? Because that's how Australians respond,
Yeah.
you know, they have that one-upmanship.
Yeah.
But I said, it's not even real. Are you going to believe that? You know, and then so in the end, I said, you could be cheeky. And this is another Australian thing to do, is pretend you're deaf. You go, what? 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 And I said, it's not crap out of someone who's trying to poke at you all the time. And I said, especially in a match, they're trying to unsettle you. So that's life, isn't it? Whoever's taking the poke at you is really trying to unsettle and get the response to, you know, press you down a bit, you know, and you just think, what's that about? You know, so I said, are you going to choose that, Aria? And he goes, oh, I said, so I just gave him a few little tools like that, because I thought, what else are you going to do? Are you going to buy into it or not? Can you change it to asking questions, or being praying a prank back straight, a prank, or, you know, just being, I guess it's Australian. What?
I love it though. That's nice. Awesome. Thanks, Sheree. All right, Mushtaq, I want to give you a moment if you had anything you wanted to, anything left to pull forth from your font of wisdom.
My font of wisdom. Yeah, I'm afraid that my font of wisdom is just plain old Arial. But it is the kind of Arial where I have access to all of the different scripts. So that's not too bad.
There you go.
Yeah.
Font of wisdom. Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, this is a simple yet not easy process. To recap, you begin to interrupt the pattern of your stimulus response with your breath, because that's the easiest way for you to do this. Your breath is like the interface in many ways. So this exhale, and it's definitely the exhale, it's not the inhale. Even if you have to inhale before you exhale, it's the exhale that counts. The longer, the better. And the moment you do that, you'll notice, surprisingly, that the voice in your head quiets down a little bit. And that allows you to say whatever works for you as a sound to go with the breath. You know, you can go om if you want to, or who if you want to, or ah, which is my preferred one because it freaks out the straights if they hear me doing it. And then the pause at the end, at the bottom of the breath, allows you to insert the question, how do I want to respond to this? Well, focusing head and heart so that you stay in your body. You know, if you focused on just one of the centers, it's easier to drift inward. But if you focus on two, it kind of keeps you present in the moment. So heart and head, head and heart, and asking yourself the question, how do I want to respond to this stimulus? And you let the answer emerge. And if you get no answer, that's your answer. Sometimes the best response to a stimulus, somebody goes, your mother wears combat boots. And you just turn around and walk away. Like, oh, they don't even exist.
It's not real, as
Yeah.
Sherry says.
For those of you who are desperately wondering about that particular insult, it comes from the time between World War I and II, when there were lots and lots of poor people. And sometimes the only clothes you could get were army surplus. So your mother wears combat boots, your mother wears army boots. That means that you're poor and you don't have the money to buy decent shoes. So you have to get sometimes used military footwear.
You know, gender norms, because, oh, women wearing combat boots. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Yeah, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we got for today. What do you think?
Thumbs up from Shri.
More thumbs up.
Yay.
Any last questions? Any
we
first
have
questions?
A comment from Palon.
Ah,
She says, just a comment. From my personal experience, this ability to pause depended a lot on being able to feel my body, which itself required a lot of work and training.
she ain't wrong.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why it is really good to have some practices that help keep you in your body. Do a martial art, do some dance, do anything that allows you to move and feel. Go get a session from Cherie.
Yes.
You had a thought, Cherie?
I was just thinking about the little finger circle thing we've done before. You know, that gets you back in immediately. You don't need any special tool.
It's true.
Yeah.
Why don't you teach everybody that again?
Just real quick, if you don't mind.
Thumb, little finger, bring them together. Now draw a circle on the tip of your little finger. Now start noticing some qualities about that. Is it rough, smooth, dry, moist? Now reverse the circle, because already your brain just clicked into auto. Now stop. Use the little finger to draw on the thumb. Don't let the thumb move 1 millimeter. And now reverse. Stop. What's doing the feeling? The little finger or the thumb? And then you continue doing that through each finger. That's the exercise.
Yeah, and that will drive you mad the first few times you do it.
Awesome. So, I mean, that's very practical. Thanks, Shri. And Palon, thank you for instigating, touching on that. That's important.
So that's pretty much what we got for today. Just this simple idea of making the pause. Now, this evening, the topic is going to be, what do you practice? Because whatever you practice is what you get good at.
Yes, remember I mentioned the muscles. This is all about that. Yes.
And to finish my thought before, find something that you can do physically. You need two kinds of things that you can do physically. One kind involves the whole body. And it doesn't matter what it is to a very great extent. You can run, you can walk, you can dance, you can bicycle, you can do martial arts, you can fence, and that's the best thing to do. You can do all of these things. You can take classes in stretching if you happen to be in Australia, which are very, very good.
Just lost someone. That's okay.
Yeah.
We'll miss them.
Yep. And you need something that helps develop your fine motor skills. So drawing, painting, sewing, anything along those lines that helps you develop your fine motor skills is a good thing for you.
Recently taken up embroidery, for example.
Yes. And her fine motor skills are all over the place now.
Shoo. All right, Rohit has a thought.
In your email that arrived today, it was written, God may forgive your sins, but your nervous system won't. So
Yes.
like this, every reaction, like it's coming from the past actions which are stored in nervous system. Would you like to say something about it, its mechanism?
Yeah, that is a quote from Alfred Korzybski, who founded General Semantics. And he noted that this kind of stuff that you drive into your nervous system has lasting effect. And so that saying, God may forgive your sins, but your nervous system won't, seems to be true.
Yeah.
It's related to the statement, the face that you have after the age of 35 is all your fault.
Oy vey. Okay, good to know. Yeah, I mean that's the field of somatic therapy and engagement and all that stuff is also kind of plugging into this idea that, you know, we kind of get our traumas and all that stuff ingrained in our bodies because we repeat that tension that we experience over and over, and it becomes kind of our normal. How do we unpack that? Well, we have to practice bit by bit different ways of being in our bodies, and that helps re-engage our nervous system in different ways. This is the beautiful thing about neuroplasticity. That means that our neurons can be utilized in different ways, and we can strengthen different neural patterns through our actions and our intentional habit forming behaviors. Yeah. And we are going to get into that more this evening. These are definitely related discussions.
Yeah.
But
So
I'm
for the
glad
moment,
you brought that up. Yeah.
For the moment, we are going to shift over into Brady Bunch. Yes.
Yeah, so we had a few people take off. David's not here. Hi, David. And Harris had to go, but they're with us in spirit, and we can all wave to each other and everyone who's watching on YouTube.
Bye, folks.
And we will see you later. Bye.
Bye.